beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. What is today? Today is Wednesday, August 27th. Fairly nice morning, not too bad. Got to run in, got to work out. I'm ready to get into it with y'all. Hope you guys have had a productive morning as well. I'm here to take a dump with you all. And while we wait for more of the class to show up, let's take a minute and go through the morning video of today. Actually, real quick, before we do into that, there has been a, I just noticed this moments before we started. I saw this. Josie was posting about this, Red-Haired Libertarian, something about a shooting. So apparently there was a shooting. This just, I'm just finding out about this. So I'm seeing now, just with you guys, there's, Josie tweeting about it, saying any events on the shooter's identity, motive, or the casualties. And what she is quote tweeting here is a tweet from Disclosed TV saying suspect confirmed dead in Minneapolis Catholic school shooting. So apparently there's been a school shooting at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. Let's watch this quick little 30-second video. I have no idea if there's anything in it. Let's watch this. Oh, I'm an idiot. I don't have the thing up. Here we go.
This is confirmed by Fox 9 sources. So, and
start that over. Here we go.
We need to.
I thought I had the tweet up the whole time. My bad.
We need to share this information. This was just confirmed by Fox 9 sources that the suspect is dead. This is confirmed by Fox 9 sources. So, and folks back in the newsroom and control room, just please, you're doing a great job. Continue to let us know what is confirmed and what we can report out here, because there's a lot of information that's coming in on our internal channels. So I appreciate you guys being so specific. Thank you. So reports now confirmed by Fox 9 sources that the suspect is dead. I'm looking at some of our image.
Well, okay, this is the first I'm hearing about it, so I don't even know about anything without, or don't know anything about shooters or anything. Let me see. Okay, more horrific details I'm finding here from this is Vigilant Fox. It says Annunciation Church has a Catholic school attached, preschool through 8th grade with over 320 students. Okay, so it's one of those smaller schools, about 300, so it's a K through 8, about 300 students in it. So initial reports suggest the all-school mass was underway when the shooting began. Oof, which I would assume that means, because I went to Christian school when I lived in Maine. Went to public school for a little while, and then like elementary school, moved to Christian school, and then moved to Tennessee my sophomore year, and so I was like from like some early elementary school till sophomore year. I was in the same Christian school, high school. And I don't remember what my point of saying that. Oh, yeah. I remember what the point was. Because they would hold chapel. And so they would have, I think on certain days, they would have where usually, I mean, sometimes it would be broken up by like the high school or by the middle school. But they would have pretty commonly every now and then like mass events to kind of have I don't know, it's a religious event. Makes sense. You kind of, you feel the spirit of the Lord amongst in masses kind of deal. So that makes sense, but point being I'm driving at is that if their mass was going on, I'm not Catholic, but I would assume it's probably some sort of school-wide assembly. So that's that has some terrifying implications. But obviously, I don't know. Let's watch these couple videos right now. Here's the initial one. It says breaking. Police confirm it in Minneapolis. So he opened fire at 8:30 a.m. It says no, but this is in Minnesota. So this is Central Time. So I'm in Eastern Time. So this is like an hour ago, I guess. Because it is 10 a.m. there. So it's like an hour and a half ago, I guess, the shooting started. This video report we're going to watch is from... see, you can see the time on the bottom left here. You can see the Eastern Time there. So, yeah, this is less than an hour ago that this was reported. But let's go ahead and play this.
Our reports, we're still trying to confirm details, but reports of an active shooter at a Minneapolis church. Police are responding. We're learning that. But the reports that we've seen so far, and again, working to confirm this now, we do have that through KARE 11, which is the main affiliate, one of the main affiliates there, news affiliates in that area. That police department, the Minneapolis Police Department, did just now confirm that there is an active shooter. They did open fire on a church on the south side of Minneapolis. Not many details. We know that there is a lot of police presence, paramedics present there at this church. Annunciation Church is what we're told. That all according to law enforcement and a local affiliate there. But an active situation is still there, an active shooter situation right now. That so far is about what we know and what we can confirm.
All right, and they're seeing reports a significant number of victims already. Here's, I guess, further on this.
Yeah. And it sounds like this is a situation where you have the church and then you have the school connected to that. And the details that we are able to pull about this school is that it goes from pre-K, preschool through 8th grade. The student population at that school is over 320 students, according to U.S. World News and Report. And from their website, Annunciation provides comprehensive education, faith formation, and enrichment activities for children from preschool through 8th grade. And now we are hearing from the governor that police are responding to this horrific act of violence at this Catholic school. And they just started school this week, right, Isabel?
That is correct. And Pamela, if I can add this, from their website, it looks like they would have been, that the all-school mass would have likely been underway at the time. So we're looking at a calendar. So school mass would have been underway. Obviously, we're reaching out to across many avenues trying to get more details as to what happened here.
Oof. And then I guess Cash has already chimed in on this, says we are aware of reports of a shooting at a Catholic school in Minnesota. It says FBI agents on scene. We ask everyone to keep potential victims, civilians, or law enforcement in harm's way in your prayers. FBI will provide updates as more info becomes available. Trump's already said it, saying he's been fully briefed on it. It says the FBI quickly respond. They're in the scene. White House will continue to monitor. Please join me in praying. And then just 13 minutes ago, actually, so here's young children are now exiting Annunciation Church in their uniforms, accompanied by their parents.
A lot.
All right, let's watch this.
A lot of kids now coming out of the school, right? So that's something we were talking about just beforehand. These little ones have been through an ordeal this morning. They are going to need the support of the family and the communities. I know we have a post with the president.
And as we
a lot of.
Okay, well, so we're seeing kids come out. I mean, obviously, you can't really tell much from this snapshot. These kids don't look particularly too bothered. So, I mean, not saying one way or the other. So, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, maybe, who knows? Hopefully, this will be, this was not many victims. Maybe that reporting, hopefully, was not correct. I'm hoping. But, or maybe somehow, the mass reporting was incorrect, at least, or something, because maybe they were able to be more spread out. I don't know. But I'll keep this thread up because I'm sure this guy will probably post on it more. And if you guys have any updates throughout the show, let me know in the chat. But I guess we'll move on to the actually originally planned video. Here's Donnie Boy talking about how great Operation Warp Speed was.
Despite COVID, which was a very unfortunate situation for the whole world, we did a great job with it. Never got the credit for the job we did. Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever in politics or in the military, because it was almost a military procedure. But everybody, including Putin, said that Operation Warp Speed, what you did with that, nobody can believe it. And we did a great job, but it was a horrible, horrible pall over our country. We had a very dark cloud over the world. That was a very, very bad thing that came out of Wuhan, which I said it came out of Wuhan. That's where it came from. And China suffered greatly, but everybody did. But we did a good job with that, as good as you can possibly do, and we came back, and now we're stronger than ever before, despite COVID.
All right. I mean, this is no surprise, but once again, he's still sticking by this, still sticking by it. So, I mean, I don't know, not really much to say about this. Just kind of hate to say a toe-to-so, but a toe-to-so. All right, let's run through and say our good mornings. Good morning, Tyler Spook with the N. Good morning, Tom. He has the I. Eddie Grimm brings the G. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Noname. He says he extends that good morning to the other dumpers as well. Good morning, William Miller. Good morning, Andrew Jacob. I'm going to count that G as the second G. That counts. We need an E now. Oh, never mind. We got a G from J Pro Plumbing. Good morning. Good morning, Alien Big Cat. 23. He's an afternoon time zone dweller. You're not an American. You can get out. Just kidding. I don't care. Good morning, Real John Doe 2. He says the news is reporting 20 dead. Oof. But who the hell knows? No, I was hoping it would be. I was hoping the kids seeming somewhat calm. And once again, I'm not even like. I mean, obviously, you can't take much from that at all. I mean, who knows? Those kids that we saw could have been somewhere else. It could have. There's all different ways. So. Not at all doing the early, like, oh, they didn't look upset. It's clearly crisis actors. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. This is all super duper early reporting. I mean, hell, I'm hoping this is wrong. I'm hoping that this is some incorrect reporting of some sort. But I don't know. We'll see. Aggressively agreeing with the E. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Queen Calnads. All right, we're leaving hanging on the R. I guess it is what it is, guys. All right. Let's get into some foreign policy. By the way, guys, how'd you like that episode with Mel yesterday? I thought it was pretty dang good. Really enjoyed her. She's really friggin' knowledgeable about all this different stuff. Had a fun time. All right, let's get into the foreign policy. Let's talk a little bit more about the double tap stuff that we talked about a little bit yesterday with Mel. But we have more to dig into today. Well, today... I guess people asked them, someone inevitably asked the State Department, as they do, their position on it. So here's what they had to say. This is written up by Dave DeCamp over at antiwar.com. It said, the U.S. State Department has refused to comment on the Israeli double-tap strike of the Nasser hospital in Gaza, which slaughtered 20 Palestinians, including 5 journalists. We refer you to the government of Israel, a State Department spokesperson told the Times of Israel when asked to comment on the strike. The statement comes after a State Department employee, Shahed Gorishi, was fired for trying to release Israel-related statements the leadership didn't like, including one expressing condolences for killing of journalists that he recommended releasing after the Israeli assassination of Al Jazeera journalist Anas al-Sharif. It was more than Al Jazeera. We'll get into that in a moment. President Trump's State Department has repeatedly referred to Israel when asked about its actions, which are supported by a constant flow of U.S. military aid. So this is the state line now that when asked about, they just will not even respond. Essentially, they go, "I will refer you to Israel." Like, I refer you to Israel. Refer you to Israel. Like, not even willing to give your position. Although that kind of is giving the position in a sense that our position is. What's Israel? What is Israel saying? There's your answer. Yeah. So, and then more on this. The journalists are kind of coming together because, I mean, they took out, I guess, some Western journalists here, and so this has garnered a little bit more rage than normal. And then I also think the unique component of this being a double tap brought a lot more attention to it. But this is over at Haaretz. They wrote this up. But Israeli journalist hail killing of Palestinian colleagues in Gaza. So while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli army apologized for Monday's shelling of Nasser Hospital in Gaza's Khan Yunis, which killed journalists, medics, and other civilians, several Israeli journalists cast doubt on the victim's status as journalists, with some going so far as to justify or even praise the incident. So part of why I also want to read this article is this gets at the claim of what, like, because I think we probably covered this a little bit yesterday. We definitely did, but the following was that Netanyahu came out and kind of did the oopsies, this was a mishap or whatever. This is kind of, and then their reasoning became, it was a. Well, they claimed it was a mishap, but yet at the same time, then they're saying it's because they were targeting a Hamas camera, which is literally the journalist. So it's kind of a confusing statement. The idea of like, oops, this is a mishap, and then also being like, and then we were targeting exactly what we hit. So I don't know. 12 I-24 News Arab Affairs analyst Zavi Yehezkali claimed on the evening news broadcast the slain journalists were Hamas elite Nakba terrorists in every sense, precisely because of their professional work documenting Gaza. So literally, because they're documenting this, and which then provides them an argument. This falls in line, generally, broadly speaking, with the Hamas's perspective on this. This is therefore Hamas. These are Hamas journalists. So he said that maybe the message in striking the so-called journalists is a realization in Israel of how much damage was done by those who broadcast the images of hunger in Hamas's one-side narrative, continuing the legacy of Yahya Sinwar in the guise of journalism. Just consider how much cognitive damage those terrorist journalists, or as one could call them, Nakba journalists, inflicted on Israel, he added, alleging that the Palestinian reporters shaped the situation on the ground and perception of reality, which partly enabled the war and later sent Hamas legitimacy. If Israel has decided to eliminate the journalists, better late than ever. The spearhead of Hamas's military arm is those Nakba journalists. So, in my view, Israel did well to kill them, though too late. Throughout his remarks, the on-screen caption read, Israel's message in striking quote-unquote journalists, with the word journalists in quotation marks. This segment aired for hours after the IDF spokesperson. So to be clear, just to recap, this is an IDF spokesperson, while meanwhile we have Netanyahu saying this is a mishap, and then we have this guy saying, I'm glad we killed them, and it's because they're Hamas journalists. Even further than that, they're calling Nakba, which I guess essentially is some sort of elite unit of Hamas or some shit. And then anyways, this segment aired for hours after the IDF spokesperson had already stated midday, saying the army regrets any harm to uninvolved civilians, in no way direct strikes at journalists as such. So see how they talk out of both sides. Well, this is a factual but not truthful, I guess, the kind of thing. This is the idea of like, we regret any harm to uninvolved civilians. Well, what do they define as uninvolved civilians? Well, surely no one who exists in Gaza, and they've kind of explicitly said this over and over and over again. They've said over and over again they think everyone is involved, and then they also go, we no way direct strikes at journalists. No, how do they define journalists? They just went on and how they do not define these people as journalists. So, yeah. And then those killed in the strike include Reuters photograph Hassam El-Masri, Al Jazeera cameraman Mohammed Salama, 2 freelance photojournalists Mariam Daga and Moez Abu Taha, and journalist Ahmed Abu Aziz. So we got Reuters in there, and we also got Al Jazeera. So they don't care about Al Jazeera, but it's the Reuters, because that has more of a Western influence. That really is where I think they probably fucked up there, if you can even say as much. And then, here we go. Here's from, actually, Mel shared this. This is a video from, this is Israeli media and soldiers say it was approved by top brass to target the journalists and medical workers today at the hospital. The strike was coordinated with senior command, and they knew before it was carried out. So here's this. I'll have to read it to you guys. This is an incident that has been, making a lot of noise since this morning. But as of this morning, let me turn down this volume a little bit. That's distracting. But as of this evening, from the details we have gathered so far, it is explicitly clear. Our fighters acted as required. We are now publishing this after a conversation with the forces involved in the mentioned attack. They are claiming unequivocally the attack was authorized and coordinated with senior command, and they were aware of it before it was carried out. Additionally, in recent days, in the Golani storm on one of the upper floors of the Nasser terror headquarters. An advanced camera has been installed that is observing them and apparently gathering intelligence in preparation for a terror operation that could endanger their lives. Furthermore, intelligence personnel understand that those operating it are terror operatives and therefore decide to carry out an attack to eliminate the threat. Additionally, the fighters we spoke with confirmed that armed individuals were definitely identified in the area that was attacked, and the attack was carried out by the IDF according to the procedures defined for us, using a single tank shell. So despite the hasty announcement issued by the ADF spokesman about a quick investigation and regret over the alleged harm to innocent civilians, once again, the truth is revealed to be the opposite, much to our relief. And beyond the central part of the strip, activity continues in the north. I say much to our relief. Obviously, I'm reading someone else here. Activity continues in the north, mainly in the Sabra and Zatouin neighborhoods, as well as in Jabalia. The goal is to encircle the city of Gaza and begin operations there soon. But a big question mark hovers over the area. Why so far? The evacuation of the population from the city, which was supposed to begin yesterday, has not started. And whether all the actions and statements are once again only meant to scare Hamas and convince them to agree to another partial deal. And this is how the IDF addressed the incident a short time ago. It says, we remind you of the importance, this is an IDF spokesperson, of working as individuals. And we are beginning to decide on the research of Hamas. Okay, I think this last part doesn't fucking matter. Okay, this probably could have clipped a lot earlier. All right, that's the end of all that's substantive there. Then I thought this was interesting. Thanks for sharing this with us, John Black. He found a video of something I guess Putin had to say about this. Now, bear in mind, I will say, I don't speak Russian, so who knows? If any of you guys do speak Russian and you're like, that's not what he's saying, let me know. This is just something from TikTok, but this is supposedly is Putin's statement on these recent attacks. Oops, 1 second. I actually clicked over the wrong thing. All right, here we go.
Today the world witnesses yet another crime. 4 journalists among 15 innocent souls murdered in a strike on a hospital in Gaza. A hospital where people sought safety became a graveyard. And Israel thinks it can hide behind excuses, but no excuse can wash away blood spilled on the beds of the wounded. I give this warning clearly. Russia does not forget. Those who target journalists, those who bomb hospitals are writing their own history of shame. The world sees. Israel must decide. Does it want to live as part of humanity, or as an outcast that even its allies will one day abandon? We will not stay silent while war crimes are justified as defense. Do you think the cries of mothers will vanish into the air? No. They echo across the globe, louder than your bombs. You silence journalists, but their words will live longer than your rockets. You destroy hospitals, but you cannot destroy the truth. And let me tell you, the patience of nations has limits, and once broken, consequences are inevitable. So take this as a warning. The world is watching, and Russia will not forget who turned Gaza's hospitals into cemeteries. Remember, justice may be slow, but it never sleeps.
All right, Subin, that's legit. Pretty good words from Russia. Way to make them the good guys here. That's probably one of the strongest condemnations I've heard of Israel. And then on more into where Israel's at. Israel forces kill 75 Palestinians in Gaza over 24 hours. Seems like they are dialing things back up, unfortunately. I guess we had 3 starvation deaths recently as well in the past 24 hours or so. So just kind of a steady trickle of death as we have come to expect. And then despite this, we have the vast majority of Israelis believe there are no innocents in Gaza. This is according to a new poll that came out. So this was conducted by an Israeli organization, and it's revealed the vast majority of Israeli Jews believe there are no innocents in the Gaza Strip. So 76% of the Jewish public partially or fully agree that there are no innocents in Gaza. Now, I will say, in the interest of, I guess, whatever level of fairness there is to be had there, partially or fully agree that there are no innocents in Gaza. I mean, that's a weird qualifier, partially or fully agree. How do you, if you, because that's an absolute statement that there are no innocents in Gaza. So it's like you either do or you do not. If you partially, then I also partially agree with that statement. That, like, what does that mean? I partially agree with the statement that there are no innocents in Gaza, because I partially agree with it in the sense that there are non-innocent people, I guess. I mean, I guess I don't really understand. It just seems weird to say partially. So I don't also want a qualifier there. Anyways, it said the survey found that among Israeli opposition voters, 47% fully supported the claim, while among Jewish opposition voters, a majority also agrees with the claim. So that's not looking good. Those are the people I think are even against some of the stuff. Researcher Ron Gerlitz described the results of the survey as difficult findings that indicate attitudes that fed into acceptance of Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza. So yeah, not looking good. I mean, I don't what it's kind of. I mean, we're kind of screaming at the rooftops at this point. And then also, as this offensive is going on, we've got Christian priests and nuns that have come out, putting out public statements saying we will not be leaving. So here is the statement. This is a joint statement from the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. So this is in Jerusalem, in the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Jerusalem. So, I mean, hell, for all these religious people out here, this is literally the Holy Land. And, like, these places are probably going to get destroyed. So, yeah, I mean, so this is what they said in a joint statement. They said at the time of the statement, evacuation orders were already in place for several neighborhoods in Gaza City. Reports of heavy bombardment continue to be received. There is more destruction and death in a situation that was already dramatic before this operation. It seems Israeli government announced that the gates of hell will open is indeed taking on tragic forms, the patriarchs it said. Hundreds of civilians have been sheltering at the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza City and the nearby St. Porphyrius Orthodox Church. Both churches have come under Israeli attack, including the recent IDF tank shelling of the Holy Family Church, which killed 3 Christians and injured Father Gabriel Romanelli, Catholic priest from Argentina. So yeah, and this is this is what's going on. Literally, the Holy Land is about to get bombed into absolute fucking smithereens, and there are still Christians that that are staying back to help people in the best way they can, and because they know there's really no point in leaving. So here's more of what they have said. Like other residents of Gaza City, the refugees living in the facilities will have to decide according to their conscience what they will do. Among those who have sought shelter within the walls of the compounds, many are weakened and malnourished due to the hardships of the last months. Leaving Gaza City and trying to flee to the south would be nothing less than a death sentence. For this reason, the clergy and nuns have decided to remain and continue to care for all those who will be in the compounds yet. So keep in mind what they just said there. Like, what the Palestinians are expected to do. Like, if you were to ask Israel, like, they're purported, like, if, like, even to clean it up, sanitize this, is, we're going to come in there and we're announcing right now, like, hey, this is a no-go zone, or, the evacuation zone, whatever. You got to get out of here. You got to go down to the south, down to Rafah. You got to go down way down south. You go to those freedom zones or whatever the hell they're going to call them. You got to go down there. And they're already these people recognize, well, even just simply to go down there is a death sentence. These people are already dying. And so even the few people that do get down there, then they're just in another dire, weird situation of which we don't know how that's going to form now. These these essentially concentration camps they've floated out over and over again. Not even floated out. They've literally come up with, like, they've, I believe, asked for formalized plans, if I recall correctly. They're like either at or beyond the planning stage of that. So it's just kind of sounds to me they're essentially just kind of at the shit or get off the pot so far as the implementation point. So and I think I also heard something too. A lot of the GHF ones, I think they were talking about maybe somehow transitioning them or something. I don't know, whatever. I'm starting to speak too much out of my ass now. But anyways, I thought it was worthwhile to point out that here are these religious people who kind of have almost like a big compound where they're saying they're letting people stay. This is kind of almost going to be a sanctuary of sorts. And either admitting that, like, these people are staying, and themselves included, because to even leave would to be to die. So, but to stay is to die. So this is where they're at now. So I mean, they're just kind of, I guess, hoping and praying that perhaps somehow they can be spared. So it's a really, really fucked up situation. More from them. They said this is not the right way. There is no reason to justify the deliberate and forcible mass displacement of civilians. The Patriarchate said it's time to end the spiral of violence, to put an end to war, and to prioritize the common good of the people. There has been enough devastation in the territories and in people's lives. There's no reason to justify keeping civilians as prisoners and hostages in dramatic conditions. It is now time for the healing of the long-suffering families on both sides. Yep, and now let's go over to Ukraine for more depressing news over there. I found this shortly before we started too, and this was, holy God, just dug through this a little bit. This is I found this from Mel. She tweeted saying this is one of the most dystopian threads she's ever in her life. This is a thread, a Ukrainian thread, where they're literally trying to laud the idea of women in combat, which is holy shit. Which I know we talked about this yesterday with Mel. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the stats that have come out. Apparently, there was a leak recently of some of the internal stats from either Ukraine or Russia. I'm not sure which side. I think it was the Ukrainian side of it, and it was showing them having something, and I believe just short of like 2 mil or something overall, and like hundreds of thousands of people every year dying for this. Like the death rates are astounding. So like we're at the point where literally there are pregnant mothers and elderly men are literally fighting war. That's where we're at now. And this guy right here, Timofey Milovanov, whatever. Here he is with the thread, kind of girl power, woohoo. Saying how great this is and Ukrainian pride and shit. And frankly, holy fuck. So I figured I'd read through this a little bit. This is where they're at. Things aren't going well over in Ukraine. It says 70,000 women now serve in Ukraine's army, a 20% rise since 2022, according to the New York Times. Some fight while pregnant, crouching in trenches, and living under bombardment. Many say they serve for their children's future and plan to return to duty even after giving birth. Wow. Nadia, 25, worked as a frontline radio operator until 8.5 months pregnant. Each morning she brushed plaster from her bed after shelling. Says you're constantly thinking about your child's well-being, she said. She gave birth to a boy in February. Dr. Vida Marchenko, who delivers babies in Sloviansk, says pregnant soldiers carry more purpose. Holy shit. Yeah, it's like maybe they don't want to die more or something. I don't know. Maybe society should fall in line with that. That'd be cool. Maybe we don't put them in danger. I don't know. Maybe we inherently value women, and especially pregnant women, more because life, I don't know. They remind themselves what they fight for. Olya, the medic, says, I do everything to protect my child, and I have to stay to help here. There's a reason we send men to war. Like, there really is. We are, biologically speaking, more disposable. This is why no one gives a fuck. Like if I was to go disappear tomorrow, I mean, maybe because I have some small podcast audience, maybe there could generate some sort of interest or something. But let's say I didn't. Let's just me. No one would give a fuck. Fuck. My only value, generally speaking, as a man is comes as a function of the women or children in my life. Because father, husband, like those are the things that give me valuable titles in life. So point being is and there's a reason for that, as we're literally going into, because women carry babies. Women are the fairer sex. Like it's I don't know. There's a reason we protect that. That is valuable. Like. I mean, just even on a biological level, just understanding like what we do so far as even just simply as how we're built, and then even just simple running the numbers so far as like, hey, women have a limited amount of eggs in their lifetime, limited amount of time to produce children. Men, like you just need one dude, and like one fucking is like a bajillion semens in there. Like, just you guys get what I'm getting at. This is just flies in the face of like everything ingrained in us as human beings, and then to try to play it off as like, ooh, yeah, these guys have more purpose. Okay, Jesus. They remind themselves what they fight for. Olya says, I do everything to protect my child. I have to stay and help here. Alina, combat medic, tried for months to conceive while rotating off the front. Oh, she was trying to conceive while doing that. That's wild. She says it finally happened, she said, but she stayed in her unit. War is war, but life goes on. Olya 30. I wonder if she was trying to get out of service, because I knew plenty of people in the military that would legitimately, that was like a thing. They'd get knocked up and they'd be like, well, now I guess you can't be working the flight line. I guess you're gonna have to have some fucking gay ass desk job. Like, so women do scam that shit with kids. But anyways, so I don't know why they were trying to conceive. Olya 39 discovered her pregnancy last September. As the only medic in her company, she hid it until bleeding sent her to hospital. She spoke to her unborn baby in the trenches. I told her we were doing an important task. In May, she gave birth to Irina. It says some women returned to duty quickly. Valentina, a infantry mechanic, rejoined her unit when her son was 18 months old, despite commanders telling her to stay home. I wanted to prove a woman could perform an equal footing with a man, she said. You can't, though. It's retarded. Support networks are growing. I mean, maybe some women can with some men, but like collectively speaking, you just no, that's retarded. Support networks are growing. NGOs like Semlyatsky now send maternity uniforms, while Kivetna runs mobile clinics for female soldiers. On one rotation, doctors screened 573 women, 5 of them pregnant. So we have NGOs likely leaking out United States money, sending over maternity uniforms so we can put those bitches to work. Fun stuff. All right. Well, let's, and then also we have, I think this is the last thing we have on the foreign policy. Although I guess we kind of have one more after this, although I feel like it's sort of a different thing. The U.S. sends more warships near Venezuela. So it looks like this is heating up. So they sent over 2 more warships. And then also the Reuters report on Monday that the U.S. will move a guided missile cruiser and a nuclear-powered fast attack submarine to the South Caribbean. Then earlier this month, the Pentagon deployed the 3 guided missile destroyers, and attack submarine, and spy planes. So they're getting ready to heat things up. So it's not looking good. It looks like things may get a little spicy with Venezuela. All right, let's pop in the chat, spend a minute, check in with y'all, see what y'all got to say. All right. See. Good morning, Nevsky. Good morning, Panikins, he says. Good morning. Good morning, Adrian Brody. Good morning, Gerald Hall. Good morning, No Hablo. Good morning. This is Tilla says beers on me this morning, boys. Good morning, Tucker Delay. Good morning, King David. Good morning, JC. Seen a lot of y'all showing up. I think I already said good morning, Tom33. Yeah, Tom3 says, took quite a bit of wind out of that statement, the partially, yeah, the one Israel thing. It makes no sense, yeah. Good morning, Epstein isn't dead, says Tilla. All right, what else? So we got a bunch of people in here. What are you sharing here, Tilla? Should I go see, sharing something over on Rumble? Let's see, what are you sharing with the class here? Oh, you shared a video about why Epstein's not dead. No, we are not watching a 43-minute video on why Epstein is not dead right now. We are currently in a probably roughly 2-hour stream. We don't have time for that. But yeah, anyways, he's saying his bank account's still moving. So, okay. Yeah, that'd be a good little dive. If you find any articles on that, definitely share. I'm not going to watch like a 45-minute video, but if I can find some good visual aids for that for the show, I'd be interested in digging into that for sure. Eddie Grimm says everyone that wants women in combat should have their arms and legs broken backwards and left in the woods. Yeah, I agree with that. Good morning, David Moore. Is this not propaganda? No, it's not propaganda. This is just the truth, guys. Listen to me. I just speak truth. I speak in truths. Yeah, I mean, everything's propaganda. Let's be real. I mean, propaganda is just just a euphemism for like, how do I say, just a speech I don't like, I guess. Maybe not speech. I'm trying to look for a better word for it, like a speech, political speech. I don't know. And you get what I'm driving at. I mean, but at the end of the day, like propaganda is like, yeah, I am doing propaganda. But I believe in it. But it is propaganda. But I don't know. It seems propaganda tends to give this like a negative connotation, where it's like it means people then think that means it's a lie or something. Like you can have propaganda for. Like, let's say you're a Christian, like all of like what is it? Why am I struggling with words today? When you like missionary work, stuff like all of that is propaganda. It doesn't mean it's a lie. I mean, you believe it. So, but it's propaganda still. So, Anyways, keep going. Good morning, Emily Lawrence says, what is GHF? That's the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation Fund. I forget what the F stands for, but that's the groups, the aid groups, those aid killings we keep talking about on the show. Those are happening. I mean, it's not technically the GHF doing it. It's a little confusing. The GHF are the ones that are handling the aid sites, and even then, I think that means they're the ones doing distribution. But then now at those aid sites, you have like kind of further out on the periphery of it, you have IDF that kind of guards those areas, and they're the ones that are particularly responsible for the insane bloodshed. Because what we've been hearing from a lot of the GHF whistleblowers is stories like where they're hearing the they're hearing the bullets, and then just kind of stories of like how they did see certain people get shot, But I think kind of the way, from my recollection, most of these sites are kind of constructed, you kind of really can't. If you're at the site itself, you kind of can't see, I guess, the murder. You can kind of hear it. But, I mean, even then, they still, have contact with it. Like, there was that one guy that came out recently. He was anonymous, so he was, like, blacked out. But he was a driver, I guess, supplying stuff to GHF and those aid sites. And he claimed they got him to pick up, essentially, bodies to dispose of them, since I guess they were stinking up the site. So... yeah. That's what GHF is. But it's a scam essentially set up, and even then, like, what even is a confusing question. Like the funding, that's a whole story on its own. And John Black says, I did some math. If all my variables were close, more American soldiers have died in this war than all American wars / military conflicts. Wait, what? More American in what war? What are you talking about, John? That doesn't make sense. In more Americans? I'm confused what you mean by that. Says, what a deprived view of manhood. Men do plenty without women. Yeah, we do plenty without women. But so far as like when it comes to war, who so far as like actually disposable, who is the one we should put in danger? Yeah, men every time. So. But yeah, women need men to lead them. Yeah, I agree. I generally kind of agree with that. Oh, John's saying he's mowing the lawn, so you'll catch the replay. Says it doesn't catch it correctly. Good morning, Knife Safety. Says Michael Tracy touched my pee-pee and told me he'd buy me Gushers if I didn't tell my parents. I believe you. I believe you entirely. Good morning, Elliot James. This is not just men wage slaving anymore, says Gerald Hall. Women get out there and spend. Good morning, Mega Nerd. Says, I don't believe he is dead out of pure intuition. I agree. He's probably not dead. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Comment Mama. Good to see you joining us. Good morning. All right. Cool. All right, let's get into this first topic, the propaganda stuff. Let's get into, here is, I haven't really talked about, it's kind of been a hot topic lately, especially among the foreign policy peeps, is the Barry Weiss free press thing, which we'll kind of get into that, just kind of broad overview of the situation. Is apparently Barry Weiss, I forget where she even used to work. Where was she? Like New York Times or some shit. She was some establishment reporter. And she left to do her own thing to create the free press, which is just kind of, it's essentially tried to frame it. It seems to be this journalistic effort to, be essentially try to take the form and figure of the non-establishment while clearly being the establishment. So, like, I don't know how the free press is constructed or this or that, but from my understanding, it's essentially her blog that has kind of expanded out into maybe taking on other journalists and stuff, and now it's kind of like a publishing house of sorts, but it's completely utter smut. It's just like, from the little bit I've been able to understand, it's like essentially just riding Israel's dick. But the point, since it's kind of this, I guess you could say, an independent venture to some regard, it's kind of getting, this is how I'm seeing it from the outside looking in, is it's kind of getting seemed to be this attempt to be the appearance of, like, the podcast, that this new thing to be in that, to set itself as up in the fore of that realm, but seeming to be failing miserably. There's also some lore about, like, I guess they're getting ready to possibly receive like $200 million or some shit through, I believe, Ellison's son. I forget the name of what his first name is, but he's that cyber spook. Kind of I forget exactly what is his thing, some AI thing or something. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, so but let's be real. That's some connected spook. That money is probably coming from it's establishment shit. Like, it's probably Hasbro money that's leaking through, essentially, is what's going on here. And so she's basically likely getting ready to get paid money. I believe it's CBS. We'll go into the details because we have a follow-up story that goes more into the specifics on what's going on there. But essentially, she's getting ready to, get bought out to be essentially a Israel czar over there, I believe. And they've valued her at $200 million, which that's been kind of like a joke considering any comparable podcasts and how much they're really worth. Like, there's been a lot of people who've gone out of their way to point like how retarded this is. And so yeah, but anyways, enough pussyfooting around. I wanted to get into, here's an example of kind of this this cover they're running from Israel to a parody level degree. And now this isn't Barry Weiss, obviously, but this is one of the people who works with her. So here, and this is Benjamin Netanyahu sharing this. So Barry Weiss, that's also a thing. Obviously, Barry Weiss getting the old Benjamin Netanyahu bump. But here is the video of them essentially justifying all the starvation. So
you've probably seen these photos of skeletal kids in Gaza on front pages, all over social media, even in a UNICEF ad. They've become the symbols of famine. But we decided to look into these photos and the stories behind them. And what we found is that in case after case, these kids were sick, but not just with malnutrition. In every instance, they were suffering with other conditions or illnesses like cystic fibrosis, cerebral palsy, and even traumatic
head injury.
Head injuries.
Just sit on that one for a minute. Just sit on that. Like, we're 29 seconds into this. So okay, to fairness, she has cystic fibrosis for one, which what even is cystic fibrosis? What is cystic fibrosis? Let's even look up that one. What is cystic fibrosis so we can just get to what is cystic fibrosis? It's condition passed down in families that causes damage to lungs, digestive system, and other organs in the body. I wonder if it's something you can develop if it can be developed through things, or if that's only genetic. Anyways, point being is, let's be real. Some of these things are probably caused by this situation. So we have cystic fibrosis for one, cerebral palsy. Obviously, that one's genetic for sure. To be fair, okay, yes, cerebral palsy person's going to look a little bit more malnourished. It's going to have a little bit more muscle wasting because cystic fibrosis, I believe they struggle to. It's like the nerve muscle connections. I think what's at fault there. So obviously you're going to struggle to do anything. Commanding your muscles to do things is an issue, and so therefore it's going to be pretty hard to build up any sort of level of muscle mass. So these are people who tend to have walkers and stuff and struggle with putting on any sort of muscle. So now if you put them in a famine situation, yeah, they're going to be the first stats to come out. But I guess that makes it so they're okay to start.
Palsy and even.
But anyways, yeah, then the traumatic head injury. My point being is it's astounding that's they only got to get to 2 medical conditions. And then the third one was already just wow. The first 2, you're okay, maybe, sure, I could contrive a situation where, yeah, they got a handful of kids with these things and it's clearly bullshit. But we're talking traumatic head injury now, and this is what you chose to lead with? All right, let's keep
traumatic head injuries. A few weeks ago, I started to notice that the same kids were appearing over and over again in coverage about Gaza, and they were being photographed by different photographers, which suggests some element of coordination.
I would also think that could easily maybe imply there's only so many locations where these people are at, and probably only so many journalists. I mean, hell, we just witnessed this double tap that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. That was on a hospital. That was kind of nobody even really hones in on that anymore because we're so far past that. We're just at the point where Israel bombs hospitals. Oh, that's in Gaza? Well, that's a bomb. That's a bomb zone. That's Gaza. They just bomb. Whereas I don't know what, 4 months ago we would have been. It would have been holy shit. They would have been no, they're not bombing hospitals. No, it's no, they're bombing hospitals, but they were Hamas journalists. Wait, what? We're already 2 points ahead. Now we're at bombing hospitals while bombing journalists, while bombing rescue workers, and adding the double tap on top of it. So this is where we're at. And we throw the starvation into the mix. And anyways, let's go on.
And then the New York Times had to issue an editor's note about this viral image. And that made me wonder, what else weren't they telling us about these photos? We did something so simple, it's shocking that no other journalist bothered to do it. So this is how we figured this out. Let's just take this example of Najwa Hussein Hajj, who appeared in CNN simply as suffering from severe malnutrition in Gaza City. So all we did is we took her name, we went to Google Translate, we took the Arabic spelling of her name, put that into Google, and pulled up a lot of local clips in which her parents were talking about what was really going on. And what we learned is that she has an esophagus condition, which is something that was even reported in English media, including...
This is an esophagus condition. I mean, obviously, I don't know what this condition is, but I mean, your esophagus, what part of your digestive system? I mean, I would assume perhaps maybe being parched, not being able to eat. I mean, these can cause all sorts of developmental issues. Now we're talking about someone with a esophagus problem. I have a feeling this child would probably be just fine if Israel wasn't blockading and murdering them. I feel like she'd probably be thriving. So yeah, let's go on.
The New York Times. That is a quite different and more nuanced story than the assumption that Israel wants her dead and they're starving her.
They are starving her.
Important thing to realize is that the average Gazan does not look like that. And that is really what we find to be problematic about these images, is that they were being used by mainstream media in general stories about starvation. How is it that these legacy newsrooms lacked scrutiny for information coming out of an active war zone controlled by a terrorist group? Well, we asked them, and to figure out what they said and how they defended themselves, you should check out our story in the Free Press.
All right. Well, they're a fucking joke. All right. Now let's get into kind of what kind of this lore I was telling you about before. And here's Booty. We've shared his stuff on the show a while back. Now he said CBS ran one story that made Israel so mad, so they had to sell the company to the son of the biggest private donor to the IDF in the world, and gave Barry Weiss $200 million to continue running her Hasbro rag under their banner while serving as an ideological guide of sorts for CBS. Now he quote tweeted the story in question, so let's go through it. I actually haven't looked into it yet, so I don't know. Now I don't know if they actually. I don't know if the 200 million's actually happened yet. I believe that they got. Essentially, they have estimated the value. That's the thing. Essentially, that's. I don't know who made this estimation of value, whether it's Barry herself or somebody else. But that's what's been floated out already. It's like as she's getting ready to work for him, they floated out. Oh, here's the value, and this is what she'll probably make. So and that's what everyone's kind of joking. Like, are you kidding me? $200 million for a blog? Anyways, now here's Hamid Bendas says, now confirmed that this episode led to 60 Minutes to be stripped of its editorial independence and led to the selling of CBS to David Ellison, who now plans to merge the company with Barry Weiss and the Free Press. And so let's go into the episode that did it. So this is Sherry Redstone hoped Trump's 60 Minutes suit would root out into anti-Israel bias at CBS News, and she sold Paramount partly over October 7th. Okay. It says Redstone told the Times that for years she had resisted entreaties from potential suitors eager to buy Paramount. She pushed her to finally agree to sell the family business. What pushed her to finally agree to sell the family business was the October 7th massacre of an estimated 1,200 Palestinians. Once that happened, I wanted out, she told the Times. I wanted to support Israel and address issues around anti-Semitism and racism. Said she told the Times her breaking point came just days after she withdrew from settlement talks with Trump in January this year. So CBS aired a 60-minute segment featuring State Department officials who quit over American support for Israel's Gaza war, a piece the American Jewish Committee blasted as shockingly one-sided, lacked factual accuracy, and relied heavily on misguided information. And so Redstone wasn't alone in her concerns. Days after the segment aired, George Cheeks, who oversees CBS, shared Redstone's dismay about the Gaza episode and soon appointed veteran producer Susan Zirinsky as executive editor to review 60 Minutes segments, stripping the show of its traditional independence from corporate interference. And then he goes on about something about... anyways, in April, the longtime executive director of 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, departed after Zirinsky's appointment to undermine his autonomy. Okay, so then the longtime producer left, Bill Owens, because 60 Minutes does have, like, from my recollection, a fairly good track record of doing decent reporting. But now I guess I guess that makes sense. There's that a longtime producer is now gone, though. And as such, here's the fallout that we're seeing. So the CBS person, now they appointed a new... okay, so Bill Owens actually departed after... Sorry, I missed that little part. That the original longtime producer left 60 Minutes over this because he said it undermined his autonomy. So essentially they, I guess they had sort of a free thing of some sorts, and now they're coming in here and saying... Nope, you got to do this, that, and he left as a result, and they're trying to shuffle in Barry Weiss to kind of be this Israel overseer here. So yeah, this is apparently this is what did it. An episode on what was it? On State Department officials who quit over American support for the Israel-Gaza war. So, and that's due to the fact that the executives over at Gaza or not at Gaza, but over at CBS and over at Paramount were all upset about this. So yeah. Yeah. Wild stuff. Let's watch this video. See if he quote tweeted this. This is a video he quote tweeted when he posted, so maybe it has something to do with it.
This is the scene filmed in May by CBS News in Gaza. Children on top of rubble playing with ammunition casings. The same casings used to prop up these tent cities. A close look reveals where they come from. Printed on the side, USA, DOD for Department of Defense. Across this now decimated 25-mile-long strip of land, America's stamp is everywhere.
All right, so this was clearly, I'm assuming this was a part of the piece. So I guess they went into more than just the State Department officials, but obviously it makes sense that this would that would tie perfectly into that story. So yeah, I can see why they got a little bit upset about it. But hey, truth hurts, baby. All right, let's pop in the chat. Then we'll get into the next topic, the old pedo panic. Let's check in on y'all. Gerald Hall says, did anyone read the Mint Press article by Alan McLeod about how Israel uses attractive women to push Israel's agenda? I did not read that, but I knew that. I mean, I've existed in the world and seen all the Israel thoughts that they use to pump out propaganda. It's been a tale as old as time. Israelis, these kids were going to die regardless, as aggressively agreeing. What really matters is making pedophilia, says Tila Spook, sentence, or making the pedophilia sentence greater than murder. Yeah, I'm good with that. All right. Hey, good morning, Jake Moore. Says the average Gazan does not look like that. Yeah, they look a lot. They usually have a lot less body parts, says Jake. Yep. Taylor Spook's off to watch bunny videos with her daughter. Hell yeah, dude. That's great. I am jealous. Good morning, Boomer Slayer. Good morning, guys. Yeah, all right, let's keep moving. Let's get into the next story. Like I said, we're getting into some pedo panic stuff. I thought a good place to start. Who tagged me in this? Oh, thank you, Mithro Velvet. But I guess this is a thread that kind of goes into, at least I haven't read it yet, but my understanding is Dersh, the old Dersh, I guess is something I wasn't as aware of. I think he had something to do with the old McMartin stuff back in the day. So let's take a little bit of a dive back into the past, and then we'll tie this back into the present and kind of draw some parallels in the old pedo panic, satanic panic parallels I'm making here. This is at the forefront of the movement to deny the validity of the stories told by countless survivors is the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, which, by the way, I've done a whole thread on. Not a thread, a whole series on. Jacob did the thread on that. By the way, I just gave that Shannon chick a follow for this. A group led by a truly vile coalition of CIA-funded psychiatrists and accused, and in some cases convicted, pedophiles. Also playing a key role in the movement are Paul and Shirley Eberl, the authors of a purportedly authoritative book entitled The Politics of Child Abuse. The Eberl's book attempts to lay the blame for virtually all child abuse accusations and prosecutions on overzealous prosecutors, therapists, and parents. That argument might be a little bit more credible, however, if the Eberls themselves were not known to LA police as distributors of child porn. A fact that media outlets conveniently and rather consistently ignore while touting the Eberls as authorities in the field of child abuse. Programmed to Kill by David McGowan, which I'm actually in the middle of a reread of that right now. Great book. The Politics of Child Abuse accuses mothers, mental health professionals, and prosecutors of feeding children stories about sexual abuse. Since the book was published by Lyle Stewart in 1986, the Eberls have been cited as experts in sexual abuse trials. What is startling about the Eberls' reputation as groundbreaking expert in the field is that their dubious credentials have not been wildly challenged. Their publication, Finger, depicted scenes of bondage, S&M, and sexual activities involving urination and defecation. A young girl portrayed with a wide smile on her face sits on top of a man whose penis is inside of her. Ugh. A woman has oral sex with a young boy in a drawing entitled Memories of My Boyhood. This is David McGowan again. Oof. Gross. Awful stuff. The newspaper article titled Suffer the Children notes the following. The McMartin case has become a national symbol of the frustrating complexities inherent in the prosecution of crimes against children. The Eberls have reduced those complexities to the simplest and most fashionable of terms. Witch hunt. The abuse of innocence is a sweeping indictment of law enforcement, social services, the justice system, government, and the media. It is also a case study in manipulation, a confusing tapestry woven of distortion, inaccuracy, and omission. We are told, for instance, that the case began with a phone call by a deranged mother who accused Ray Buckey of sodomizing her 2-year-old son. We are not told that the phone call was made after the child had been taken to a hospital emergency room with a bloody diaper. As a side note, imagine how that mother felt. Think about what that 2-year-old boy went through and survived. Reflect on the context of the situation. FYI, last time I researched the statistics on children enrolled in early child care, 6 months to 5 years, it was about 65% of this nation's children. That was 14 years ago. I'd assume it's only increased considering that's all it's ever done. Consistent increasing trend. We are told that therapists at Child Institution International brainwash hundreds of children to believing that they were abused. We are not told that the children interviewed by other individuals and agencies who corroborated the testimony of the CII children, most notably that a child had moved to Hawaii several months before the lynch mob hysteria descended upon Manhattan Beach, California. Physicians found that 3/4 of the children bore physical evidence that corroborated their stories. We are told this is meaningless. As to make that make sense, we are told that they, Eberls, are objective journalists who have written numerous magazine and newspaper articles, but we were not told the true nature of these endeavors, which is widely known to California law enforcement. The Eberls currently publish the LA Star, a weekly softcore porn tabloid that features a curious mix of bondage fetishes, exotic S&M paraphernalia, a call-in by Shirley Eberl, and orgy etiquette, full-page advertisements for the politics of child abuse, and regular features on the witch hunt for child molesters. For a brief period of time during the 70s, Paul and Shirley Eberl were the most prolific publishers of child porn in the U.S. Oof, says Sergeant Toby Tyler, a San Bernardino deputy sheriff who's a nationally recognized expert on child sexual abuse and child porn. According to undercover Vice detective with the LA Police Department, the Eberls' own children were often featured in their hardcore publications. The Eberls themselves are pictured nude on one magazine cover, each copulating with a life-size blow-up doll. Their numerous underground publications include Finger, a defunct magazine that still regularly sees and caches of child porn. Scattered among articles bearing titles like Sexbot at 5, Little Lolitas, My First Rape, and New Avengers and Incest are photographs and drawings of children involved in sodomy, oral copulation, and activities beyond the imagination of mainstream America. Now, this is one of the people, just a reminder here, these are one of the people involved in the whole False Memory Syndrome Foundation, the one that's comprised of a bunch of MKUltra spooks that seem to go around anytime there's accusations of sexual ritual abuse or widespread child trafficking or pedophilia or anything along those lines, especially when they seem to connect to anyone in any sort of deep events or any one of note so far as elites. that's when these guys show up and muddy the waters. And then these are the people doing this. So, and then furthermore, embroiled in this, in 1997, the Eberl's book, The Abuse of Innocence, the McMartin preschool trial, was reprinted with a new introduction written by none other than Alan Dershowitz. You know, that prominent lawyer guy who was always called on to defend accused high-profile murderers, child molesters, and child sex traffickers. The same one who defended Epstein, whom he already knew through their mutual acquaintance, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, and now P. Diddy. Yeah, I forget that. Like, whenever I always remember, sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, he was an agent of Rothschild, and I forget the source. I need one that like is more of like a specific money connection of some sort, but I mean, he literally was introduced that is what, like, literally, Dershowitz brags about this. That, like, oh, that's how I met Epstein. It was Lady Rothschild. Lynn Forrester de Rothschild is a founding and managing partner of the McCain Institute, where Ernie Allen, former president and CEO of both MEC and ICMEC, and close pal of John Walsh, is serving on the Human Rights and Freedom Program Advisory Council. Alan Dersh says, I find it a curious coincidence that Virginia Giuffre was found dead this year. She called your ass out in 2015, accusing you of engaging in sexual misconduct alongside Epstein. She retracted her statement in 2022, claiming she recognized she may have made a mistake. I call BS, especially considering the fact that you already knew Epstein through Rothschild, and a lawyer of one of Epstein's victims wants you held accountable for your role in enabling Epstein. She says, side note, I understand Virginia enabled Epstein as well. She was not innocent. I'm simply trying to make a point. But anyways, the whole point of this thread is that, yeah, this guy was, actually there's more to it, but this guy was, he wrote the forward for one of the Eberl peoples, running cover for the McMartin thing. All right, yeah, that's I think it on that one, and then we got more with this question of pedo panic in the air. Is there pedo panic? Well, we've got some real stuff here. This is an update and a story we covered earlier. Ken dug into this a little bit more. This is a Pajit ring over in Omaha. So Ken says, I dug in this case, and it's so much more disturbing than what's been reported so far. Indian illegal immigrants allegedly pimping out kids, sold drugs, harbored fugitives, and committed rampant fraud over the last 5 years, working out of hotels wired with hidden cameras. He says, let's start with the sex trafficking. These girls were young, like too young for even the average sex buyer. Potential sex buyers backed out upon seeing their pictures, citing age concerns, which you can even see this as So additionally, this is from documents from it. It says, additionally, I know from discussing the case with law enforcement officers involved that several people commented on how young the minors looked, including potential sex buyers who backed out upon seeing their pictures, citing age concerns, and as of yet unknown suspect who posted online commercial sex act ads featuring the victims. It says one of the young girls was given drugs and fled from law enforcement while she was high on meth. So here's more from the document. It says Sarpy County TFO had a source living at Target premises number 3 in June of 2022 that aided law enforcement in identifying and arresting Midder and recovering the minor victim of his trafficking. The recovery of the minor female took time as she was untrusting, and took steps to evade them. When the minor female victim was located, she fled law enforcement while high on methamphetamine into Target premises number 3. She was able to access a room which was later searched and identified as belonging to 2 live-in employees of the hotel. One of the victims was pimped by her father, who wanted a free room out of it. Jesus Christ. Here's the document says a former employee discussed that he was personally solicited by what appeared to be an underage female of Indian heritage, asking if he would pay her to perform oral sex on him. When he identified her as underage, he reported that the took her. So there's a typo here. That she took her to the room. That he took her to the room, probably, where her male relatives were staying, and advised them what she was doing. Ugh. The man who identified as her father asked the former employee if the girl did perform on him, if they could get a free room out of it. Oh my God. Whew. The hotels were used to harbor fugitives too. Informants living in the hotels told agents that if the refugees paid $20 to $40, then hotel workers would tell U.S. Marshals that the people they were looking for weren't there. So here is from 2022 to 2023. Multiple sources lived for extended time periods in target premises number 3, and those informants indicated it was common practice during that time frame for known fugitives, many being sought by the U.S. Marshals Metro Fugitive Task Force, to stay at target premises number 3 and pay Matt between $20 to $40 with the agreement that Matt would lie to law enforcement officers that came looking for the fugitive renting the room. Sources further state that Matt and hotel staff would book the fugitives in under false names and move their rooms to an undocumented room within the hotel. Contacts with the... All right, then it goes off. It says law enforcement had several brushes with the Chaudhary crime family, including once in 2022 when Ketam Kamur staged a phony robbery in a scheme to both obtain insurance money and to obtain a visa for Rashmi. It's unclear why they weren't deported then. I guess they got busted. So investigation team believes an attempt to get Rashmi status to enter in the U.S. through a U visa application. Ken worked with a long-term renter, an employee of target premise number 3, to plan a robbery on a Brow and Blash location owned by Ken and Rashmi, so that Rashmi would be able to use the staged crime as a basis to seek a U visa from the U.S. government to give her status to stay in the U.S. A U visa is a visa that grants some temporary status to an alien who's otherwise unlawfully present, so the alien may participate in ongoing criminal investigation and court proceeding in the U.S. This prevents the alien from being deported during the pendency of the criminal investigation. Okay, so essentially they literally created a crime so that she could get a special visa that allows them to stay in the States during the litigation of the crime. It says, by the way, the feds didn't initially investigate the hotels due to the violent crimes there. Rather, the probe began due to an Indian stereotype. A call center was bilking people, and the scammers lived at the hotel. So that's pretty funny that this all started from Bajit scams. So I don't even need to read that one. So it's let's read it. Fuck it. The entire investigation started on my end about call centers. The hotel source alleged that individuals with Indian ties came from Brazil to the U.S. They began working as money mules. The scams would involve calls being made from a call center believed to be in or at least have ties to Gujarat, India. The victims would be randomly called by the call center by scammers posing as employees with a government agency. The victims would be convinced to withdraw cash from their bank accounts and physically hand off the cash to an individual in a person-to-person transaction. The source told me that the money mules for these scams were living or at least staying in hotels owned by Ken. And those hidden cameras, the defendants allegedly used them to watch what went on in the hotels like a daytime soap opera. Says the long-term employee referenced throughout his affidavit indicated that the women staying at the hotel, assumed to include Rashmi, would watch the hotel surveillance video footage like it was equivalent of a daytime soap opera. He's got the full story here. So there's a little bit more to this story. I expect that we might even get more later. This is a fairly large, operation, and they were investigating for quite a while. All right, back to next in this kind of sphere of pedo panic stuff. Well, I didn't know if you guys know this, but Jeffrey Epstein helped start the Clinton Foundation, according to Maxwell. I guess this is one of their latest claims. She told the Justice Department last month that she and her accomplice, Epstein, helped start the Clinton Global Initiative, the conduit allegedly used by Hillary Clinton to trade political favors for monetary donations. As Maxwell revealed Epstein's ties to the Clinton Foundation when asked whether he had business ties with the former President Bill Clinton. She said, I was the part of the beginning process of the Clinton Global Initiative. That was something that I helped with, and that was me, and Epstein may have helped me help them. And in that context, he may well have involved himself, but only in the context of something that I was trying to do, she told prosecutors, according to newly released interview transcripts. So I thought that was particularly interesting. I don't know. We don't need to belabor the point. They also asked whether Epstein donated to the foundation, and Maxwell says she believes that he had. Which makes sense. I think he did do that, and that I believe the money that he may have given could have been independent of me. She also suggested that she came up with the idea to start it. She said that she thought the bill could have or should have his own Davos a reference to the World Economic She thought the bill should have his own Davos. That bill, I think there's a typo there. I mean, Gates. A reference to the World Economic Forum, which draws in elite businessmen and politicians for an annual conference. Maxwell said she was central to helping launch the project. She also says in an interview that she, not Epstein, was friends with the Clintons first. She added that she never witnessed the former president commit any wrongdoing. No way. Yeah. Well, more on Ghislaine, on her imprisonment. Here is an inmate at Ghislaine Maxwell got booted out of the nice, cushy little location after talking shit about Ghislaine, which I thought was particularly funny and kind of speaks to, I don't know, we were talking about how she was helped start the Clinton Foundation, and now here she is, despite being likely involved in child trafficking, getting the hookup. So I thought this was interesting. An inmate at Ghislaine Maxwell's cushy new prison has been abruptly transferred to a higher security facility after publicly criticizing convicted sex trafficker, Daily Mail can reveal. Julie Howell, who's serving a 1-year sentence for theft, you know, the kind of person makes sense to be here, was removed from federal prison camp Bryan in Texas after blasting Maxwell, as discussing in an interview with a British newspaper earlier this month. According to Howell's lawyer, Patrick McLean, prison warden Dr. Tanisha Hall called the 44-year-old Texas native into her office and informed her she was being moved immediately. Speaking exclusively to Daily Mail, McLean told Hall told Howell, "You have ruined my weekend," and complained about her phone blowing up over the controversy. Howell was then booted out of Bryan so fast she did not have time to collect her medication or her glasses. She's now being held at the grim Federal Detention Center in Houston, where the inmates are more violent and the conditions are far worse. Another twist, Howell only decided to speak up because one of her family members was a victim of sex trafficking, the crime for which Maxwell received a 20-year sentence. She says Julie has been punished for crossing the system and speaking her mind openly. President Trump has talked about wanting to punish and put in jail his public opponent or political opponents. I have no reason to believe that the president knows who Julie Howell is, but by speaking her mind, she has angered the administration and suffered the consequences. Maxwell, okay, now it just kind of goes into what's going on with Maxwell. We're aware she's in jail, why she's there. We don't need to reread all of that. And then more in the Epstein realm here. Epstein victim to publish book from the grave. Ghislaine Maxwell, I guess they're putting together a book. This is from Ken Silva, by the way, if you didn't catch on with some of the few other pieces I've read of his today. Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the most vocal victims of Epstein's trafficking ring, reportedly committed suicide in April, but the world hasn't heard the last from her. According to a Sunday article in the U.S. Sun, her autobiography, Nobody's Girl, is set to hit the shelves in October. The book is to be published in October. Will tell how she's trafficked as a teenager. The Sun reported. Jeffrey's autobiography will contain intimate and disturbing details of her relationship with Prince Andrew. The bombshell book will see her open up for the first time since the disgraced royal paid her millions to prevent claims of sex abuse going to court. An anonymous source told The Sun this is her ultimate revenge. Jeffrey, formerly Virginia Roberts, alleged that Epstein and associate Ghislaine Maxwell groomed her starting at 16 years old for Epstein's pleasure, including lessons in Epstein's preferences during oral. Jeffrey said she was trafficked to prominent figures such as Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, politician Bill Richardson, and more. She settled a lawsuit with Maxwell in 2017 and Andrew in 2022 while dropping her lawsuit against Dersh, saying she made a mistake. Meanwhile, Maxwell serving 20-year sentence after being found guilty of conspiring with Epstein. Epstein was reportedly found dead in his prison cell in August 2019, allegedly of suicide, though Maxwell recently said she doubts that, which I don't think we covered that yesterday. For those who are unaware, that is one of the claims Maxwell made, that she actually does think that she doubts that Epstein killed himself, but she doesn't think it was some conspiracy. She pointed out how, you can get killed in prison for $20. So she kind of makes it out how it could have just been some prison thing. So, because I guess the world would bend over backwards to cover for it if it was just some prison thing and delete all sorts of do all sorts of weird tech stuff to obfuscate videos. And so that makes sense. Makes total sense. All right, let's pop in the chat. Spend a minute. See what you guys got to say. Boomer Saloon is saying he's re-listening to last night's Already Dead. Yeah, we went a little long last night, and then we went even though I was trying to get out there, we went even long in the post-show. So just a reminder for the patrons, you guys can hang out in the pre-show and the post-show, and I do have fun with you guys when you do. Actually, you don't even have to be a patron to stay in the post-show. You just have to be one of the callers, because once you call in, you're in the studio, so just hang out. But the pre-show is for the patrons only, so... Boomer Slayer is saying, by the way, definitely dig deep into Robert Pickton. It's a wild chapter in Canadian history. Yeah, we did get a little bit of a tangent last night talking about Robert Pickton, the pig farmer associated with the Trudeaus. Sketchy stuff. The Patel Hotel Cartel at it again. Patel Hotel Cartel. I like that. It's a good one. Knife. I was thinking for something clever, because if you see my title today, I had Pedo Panic Planned Presidents, and I was like, man, if I could just nail it with another alliteration with P, but Patel Hotel Cartel would have flowed well. Pedo Panic Planned Presidents, Patel Hotel Cartel, and more. See, that would have sounded good, right? All right, anyways. Yeah, so that would have been a good one to add to there. So I need to get you for helping me with titles, Knife. All right, what else we got here? Hold on. No, Hablo says, you said you'd be willing to hurt people for children for how little? You said they're willing to hurt children for how little? Okay, I was confused. I misread that. I was like, what did you misunderstand something I said, Hablo? Yeah. All right, let's get into... Comment Mama says, by the way, watch that publisher will be sold. I don't know. We'll see. It also is I don't really know what this book consists of, and who knows, this could be some sort of limited hangout. I mean, you never know how this book was created. Was this something she did herself? Was this put together posthumously by family that needs money? I mean, there's a million different scenarios where could be something weird going on here. So I don't have my hopes up too high, but I guess it is an interesting development, and I guess we'll see what happens there. All right, updates on the Tom Alexandrovich case. This is from Mel sharing this. She said a complaint was filed yesterday. Tomorrow's hearing will only allow still images, no recording. So that's the... this was yesterday, too. So is that today that they're supposed to be... So I think today, okay, so So today, yeah, so it's an update on the Tom Alexandrovich case. It says a complaint was filed yesterday, which would be the day before yesterday for us. And it says tomorrow's hearing, today for us, hearing will only allow still images, no recording. So apparently, Tom Alexandrovich is supposed to be at 9 a.m. So this was in Vegas. So I think they're maybe an hour or two behind us. They might be Central Time. So we should know already, actually, if Alexandrovich attended his court appearance. Now, I do find it weird that they're not going to allow recording. I don't know how normal that is. So yeah, I don't know. Keep an eye out. Who knows? Maybe Tom Alexandrovich will show up. I am very doubtful. But today is the day. It's already come and gone, the time, because it was at 9 a.m. When the court appearance was supposed to be. It is, which I think that would be for that, 2.5 hours ago, I think, since it's not Eastern time. Yeah, and then more on the kind of this pedo angle. What the fuck is going on with Destiny? I've been seeing people talking about some wild stuff. I did watch this one already, but I want to share this with you guys because what the fuck? Fuck Destiny, for one. So I know this does feel like kind of Destiny's just stupid streamer kind of in the drama realm, and it does feel kind of gay to be. This almost feels like nipping at his heels, but this is some gross shit, perhaps. I mean, I don't know if maybe there's some other way to understand this. I mean, it seems to be that he literally, in his basically around my age, in his early 30s, he, I guess, supposedly went to a gun range with a 16-year-old and then went on and on about how sexy she was, which is there some you see him riffing or trying to make it funny, and so it's not. So it's I just can't. I'm just trying to. Is there some way to understand this? I mean, far be it for me to in any way give Destiny any level of good faith, but I'm was he making some weird fucked up joke taken out of context? Doesn't look that way. It looks like he straight up doesn't look good. Just saying. So I don't know. I just trying to be as fair as possible here before you go. I think this dude's probably a fucking pedophile, but I'll let the video play for itself. Now, of course, the audio is not working. Give me a minute. So, give me a minute. I gotta fix it. All right, give me a second. Here we go. All right, I got it back now. Here we go. Oh, I just realized I didn't even have it up. My bad. I am so I'm so bad. I just did like a minute of like no audio for you guys. I thought I had it up. All right, here we go. Once again, my bad. I zoned out.
Hold on, he's gonna say something.
There you go.
Right.
Now it's back.
When you're
my
when you
bad.
first learn how to shoot, it's usually better to shoot in the isosceles stance, right? Both arms are even. Your entire body is like straight, right? Your legs are lined up with your shoulders, and you're shooting right out in front of you like this. But the way I didn't know this until I started watching her shoot, right? But what happened was when she fired, right? When she was shooting like this and she shot, the way that the recoil traveled through her body would make her ass jiggle in the most delicious fucking way. Oh my God, it was the most beautiful fucking sight I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. I don't know how it worked, but just every time she shot, the way that her body absorbed the recoil, there was like that ass jiggle every shot. Oh my fucking God. It was the best fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Holy shit.
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't even know why I even caveated, because I mean I watched this I think like a couple days ago or something. So it's like I mean, when was this? This was this was days ago. So I'd forgotten some of it. So I mean it is like a lofty accusation. The more I'm watching, I'm like I didn't even need to do the caveat. This is just wild. Let's keep going.
Dude, I really like booties. Damn, that's fucking beautiful.
Oh my God, that is fucked up. That guy. I was like 16. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with streaming. I'm done with streamers. I was like 16 when we went to the gun show. When we went to the. He's like friend zoned. That's weird. We were friends, not like that.
It's so weird. Okay, this sounds weird, but like, I mean, she's not. It's a skinny chick too, so it doesn't even make sense. Even if you were like if you were trying to be like, okay, I mean, it was just like I couldn't. Like, how do you not? Like, I mean, while it would obviously be inappropriate and weird to even be commenting on it, at least you could be like, okay, it is bizarre. Let's say we play this video and all of a sudden, let's say instead, like, to make this example more straightforward, we were talking boobs. Let's say she had like something insane, like F-size tits. And he was just like, holy shit. And maybe it wasn't even really sexual. It was just like I mean, obviously he made it sexual there, but it was just like a holy shit. But no, this is just him. It doesn't even make sense. He's just flagrantly just... Okay.
He's like, what is he, like 30 or something? Did you watch it? Isn't it creepy as fuck? He's just a little crazy. I don't know. He was friends with the porn star Mia Rose, and I guess like, I don't know if they're still friends. Destiny! Fuck off! Fuck.
Yeah, just I don't know. I mean, I guess you guys have any thoughts? I think he's not being the accusations. I mean, there's been some pretty funny stories come out recently too about like literally up into including like his son seemingly fucking hates him, which I don't like to engage with because it's like it's almost kind of sad in a sense when you like just even try to even poke my head a little bit into what is this thing that is Destiny. And you're like, he is like a kid that seems to hate him, who's literally like grafted himself on to the identity of what, Destiny sees as like the exact opposite of him. And like, I believe his son even accused him of being I think it's his son who actually brought all this shit to the fore, if I recall correctly. So it's he accused him of being a pedophile. Yeah, I mean, what an insane life this guy's leading. I'm so glad I don't know a whole lot about this guy at all, except for I only see him in the worst times ever and when he's simping for the worst war crimes there are. So yeah, good riddance. I hope he gets busted. Fuck this guy. I don't know. Let's roll the chat. I'm curious what you guys think. if anything, it's more to share because it is pretty crazy. Like, holy shit. This, I mean, it couldn't happen to a worse person. So, cool, I guess. But geez, it's a wild story. I mean, I don't really have enough background on Destiny. Really, I never understood people got into him or anything. I mean, maybe he just somehow has existed off of rage bait. He's just always been insufferable to me. I guess especially, I've just been more the kind of person when something's insufferable, not always, especially as time's gone on more so, I just engage with it less. So that's why I don't really even know much about Destiny, but this does not look good. All right, what do you guys think? Let's roll the chat. Says No Hablo says, okay, you were referring to the earlier, I was confused what you were talking about. You were talking about the Pajit thing, because they were talking about the one guy literally allowing his kid to be abused for a room. So yeah, pretty insane. It says, yeah, you're saying $40. I think I might have said that as well. It says, essentially, you're making the point that it would help to radicalize people for sure. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Andrew Jacob says Destiny's son's a groiper who hates him. Yeah, the only one taking a 16-year-old to gun range should be your father. Yeah, the only way I can understand that, it's weird that this 16-year-old's palling her. I would assume if I had to give it the best faith, maybe it was some sort of influencer event, which already is why are there 16-year-olds going to influencer events? But I guess there are children who do get it, which is creepy. I wouldn't I'd be weirded out. But to give, so it's trying to find ways to understand. But yeah, it is weird. This is there's, just what the fuck? What am I watching here? I don't like this. So, Caddy Grip says if my dad was a gay cuck, I would hate him too. Destiny says the Dargent things. Would you like to see my new wood chipper? Says Life Safety Plus. Mega Nerd says Destiny's extreme degen. It's all the tip of the iceberg, I would speculate. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. The kid thing is the younger kid thing. From my recollection, things is new, but I have heard rumors. Obviously, the rumor about him and Fuentes and lots of other weird stuff. And he's even admitted to sucking off dudes and all sorts and whatever, I guess do your thing, but it's a little wild to be I don't know. It's kind of like with fucking Cernovich when he fucking sucked off a tranny and wrote an article about it. You're like, what are you doing? I don't know. Maybe keep the dick sucking to yourself, like a respectable human being. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good to see you show up. At Alien Big Kite says, "What's a groiper?" I don't know if you're being serious or not, but that is it's a Fuentes, Nick Fuentes' people, is my understanding. I'm not sure where the name came from particularly, but essentially that's his group of people, his entourage, I guess you could say. Entourage isn't the right word. All right, let's get into the last story of the day. Kind of wanted to finish off on this is sort of something I want to touch on a little bit before, and to point out a little bit of the parallels and between Vance and Obama. I've tried to squeeze it in other times, just didn't work. But I'm going to kind of thread this into then also the weirdness that goes on in colleges that one of you guys shared with me, an article on that. But here's a tweet that I think kind of sets the tone of where we're going here. It says, abandoned by his father to a troubled single mother, eventually raised by grandparents, he's then recruited from an Ivy League law school by shadow figures, a specific billionaire in a network of interests. He changes his name, writes a book about his life story, and with the support of the aforementioned, who eventually pays for the assembly of a strategic campaign influence network, becomes a senator for 2 years before being quickly elevated into position in the White House. It says many people reading that paragraph will be familiar with the life story of Barack Hussein Obama. However, that paragraph doesn't describe Barack Obama. Nope, it is the right side version of the exact same storyline. James David Vance, J.D. Vance. So, yeah, which this guy does glow. I did just kind of for funsies. I did talk to Grok a little bit before this to kind of be just kind of curious. Hey, where did Vance go to college? I was pretty sure it was Yale, but I just wanted confirmation. So he went to Yale. I asked where Obama went. Obama went to Harvard, but let's be real, Harvard, Yale, tomato. And then I was kind of did hone in a little bit, just kind of curious, because I thought Skull and Bones was only a fixture of one of them, but I couldn't remember. So I asked him if Skull and Bones a fixture of both Harvard and Yale. Goes, no, Skull and Bones is not a fixture of both. It's exclusively a secret society at Yale University, founded in 1832. Says while Harvard has its own final clubs and secret societies, such as the Porcelain Club or the Hasty Pudding Club, none are direct equivalent to Skull and Bones in terms of structure, prestige, or historical significance. Skull and Bones is specifically tied to Yale's campus culture, This headquarters, known as the Tomb, located in New Haven, Connecticut. I think that's where they all go and bust on Geronimo, which, for those who are unaware of that, that is supposedly the rumors. That is that's the ritual to gain entrances. You do got to bust on Geronimo's actual skull, which is wild. I did just kind of curiosity ask him how many presidents came from Yale. We have 5 presidents that came from Yale. We have Taft, Ford, Bush, Clinton, and Bush again. And then this is for undergrad and graduates. And then 8 have graduated from Harvard. And then we have John Adams, Quincy Adams, Rutherford Hayes, Roosevelt again, so Theodore and Franklin, Kennedy, Bush, George W., and Barack Obama. So I didn't realize George W. apparently went to Harvard and Yale. I did not realize that. George W. Who would have thought George did both? That's wild. So I thought it was worth pointing out, just like, hey, these are the pedigree of people who come here. Always there are all those rumors about Skull and Bones. And then Black Eye here is one of you guys who shared with me a tweet from Synchronous, and it connects to an article. And I figured this kind of ties into the overall theme here. It says, university fraternities and sororities all originated from Freemasonry, which nobody seems to remember. Now the membership recruitment drive is reaching a fever pitch nationwide, with dance videos going viral on every campus, just like how Freemasons attract new members. From Freemasons to frat houses to secret societies we know very little about. And I figured it'd be kind of fun to maybe end off this episode today with this piece. I have not pre-read it, so I don't really even know what angle, where they're going to go with this. But I figured it kind of ties roughly into that topic of kind of like created people, secret societies, which I know we're talking Freemasons here. And then if we're talking about the Ivy League schools, it may not technically be Freemasonry, but it's something probably pretty dang close. So I think we can probably kind of take maybe what we learned from here and apply it. Although, like, again, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go with this. I'm interested. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. It says, some Freemasons to frat houses, the secret societies we know very little about. Here's a picture of Freemasons at an event, shaking hands and such. So this is from, who wrote this? This is David Barnett. This is wrote back in 2018. It says, I have only once, I think, been a member of an organization that excluded someone right before my eyes. I'm not counting the Cubs in this. I'm not sure if there was a blanket ban on girls joining back in the 70s. It's just that there weren't any girls in my troop, and I packed it all in after a couple of months because the meetings were on Friday months and I wanted to watch The Incredible Hulk. Nor am I referring to my lifeline membership of the straight white male club for which I was signed up while still in the womb. No, I'm talking about the Lower Inns Labor Club Junior Course Fishing Society. Fishing was a popular pastime when I was a kid, with rod and float on the canal on the River Douglas, or various flooded quarries or former pit land. I vividly remember the first meeting of the fishing club when the organizer, almost as an afterthought, checked that our parents were all active members of the labor club. One boy a couple of years older than me, called Jonathan, said his parents weren't. Red-faced and almost in tears, he was asked to leave. He just brought a new rod as well. I thought it was an experience that gave me a healthy distrust of elitist clubs and societies, so you'll understand and perhaps forgive me when I break out the world's smallest violin to accompany the Freemasons' claim that they are facing discrimination and are being unfairly stigmatized. And here's a photo of a grand temple inside a London Freemasons Hall. That's creepy looking. In fact, they have taken out advertisements in 2 national newspapers to complain. The papers are the Times and the Telegraph, which is perhaps curious. You might have thought that most Masons would actually be readers of those twin colossi of the British establishment anyway. Surely their complaint would have better avoided preaching to the converted in the center-straddling or left-wing press. But anyway, the advert is headlined, "Enough is Enough," and in short, impassioned speech signed by Dr. David Staples, the chief executive of the United Grand Lodge of England, it sets out the Freemasons' charitable gestures, which was 33 million euros, I guess, is maybe that symbol, raised for good causes last year, and their values, honesty, integrity, and service to the community, as well as stating that no other organization would stand for the sort of discrimination that Freemasons get, and pledging rather darkly, "Nor will we." Why do the Freemasons feel so much under the cosh? Perhaps it's a claim by Steve White, who at the end of December stepped down from his 3-year tenure as chair of the Police Federation, and who said that the presence of Freemasons is putting the brakes on policing reform and actively thwarting equality and diversity, particularly in relation to women and ethnic minorities in the force. I'll go ahead and bring out my littlest violin for that too, but okay, I get your point. You know, they have an influence. You chose that influence I don't give a fuck about, but they do have an influence. Then last weekend, it was revealed that 2 Freemasons lodges operate within Westminster, populated by MPs and political journalists, prompting angry denials that there was anything wrong with this from Dr. Staples and leading to the taking out of those adverts. What do we know about the Freemasons? Secret meetings, funny handshakes, one trouser leg rolled up, murmured assertions that we meet upon the square and part upon the level. But it's not about that, of course. It's about the benefits conferred by membership. And that's what makes us non-members somewhat suspicious. If it's also benign and innocent, why the secrecy? Are Masons, as has long been presumed, doing each other favors in business, in public life, in private? How far does their influence reach? Are we losing out at work, in our communities, and even our dealings with authority and the police because there's a lot of mutual back-scratching going on to which we are not invited? In 1998, Michael Bajent and Richard Lee published their book, The Temple and the Lodge, which subsequently became an international bestseller for its claim to lift the lid on the fascinating world of Freemasonry. In this and their previous book, The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail, they directly trace the lineage of the Freemasons to the Knight Templar, the Christian order established in 1139, which rapidly grew to great power and influence across Europe. In their introduction to the Temple and the Lodge, Bajent and Lay acknowledge the strong foothold that Freemasonry has in the popular psyche. Is Freemasonry corrupt? Is it, even more sinisterly, a vast international conspiracy dedicated to some obscure, and if secrecy is a barometer for villainy, nefarious end, is it a conduit for perks, favors, influence, and power broking in the heart of such institutions as the city and the police? Is it? We don't know, because by its very nature, the Freemasons is a secretive organization. Secret societies of one form or another have been prevalent, or at least the idea of them has, for centuries. Sometimes that can manifest in our daily lives in tribes or gangs or office cliques, or even close-knit friendship circles with their in-jokes and references which are opaque and obscure to those not in the know. Fascination with Freemasonry has allowed the idea of conspiracies to take hold from the allegedly globe-spanning Illuminati, the shadowy Bilderberg of the world's political elite, to the fraternities of American colleges with their hazing initiation rituals. Kappa Alpha Order is one of the most venerable of the U.S. frat houses, formed in 1865 at Washington College in Lexington, Virginia, and wildly across the country today. Kappa Alpha has been criticized for its embracing of America's racist past through Confederate trappings and has been widely acknowledged to be closely aligned to Freemasonry in imagery and organization. Peter, not his real name, is British, but as a student attended for a year at a college in a liberal enclave of a southern U.S. state, it was indicted into Kappa Alpha. After considering 3 or 4 fraternities at the open house events and cookouts they organized to attract new members, he plumped for KA as it was the only ethnically diverse bunch who were also really chilled and up for good fun. Peter asked about the hazing and whether his chapter operated the shake when prospective members are all but kidnapped and bundled into cars to be taken to their secret initiation process. So what actually happened at this initiation? I cannot go into specifics, he said, partly out of respect for my chapter, if not for the frat as a whole. Also, it is immensely complicated. Like Freemasonry, on which it and many others are based on, religion is integral. For KA, it was a Christian brotherhood. You are informed of some higher secret truths, just as vague as those Pierre Bezikov finds out in War and Peace. You are blindfolded and walked around campus to disorient you, then led into the college's chapel. You go through a ritual including kneeling, being knighted, awarded spurs, kissing the Bible, and given olive leaves. Cloaks are worn, but no hoods. Man, this shit's so gay. Honestly, it felt pretty ridiculous. It made me take the whole thing a lot less seriously. From then on, I treated it as the drinking club it was, that also ran sports teams, charity events, and social events with sororities. But once a member, Peter slowly noticed how people get the cold shoulder for being liabilities, not up to an arbitrary moral standard, intelligence, and general congeniality. That said, bad treatment of women was a massive no-no with the brothers. The motto is La Dieu et la Dames, God and the ladies. Was there any suggestion of supporting racism? I mean, whatever, who fucking cares? It might seem odd was 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, Robert E. Lee, who's a spiritual founder of the frat, was seen as the ideal of Southern gentleman values without the tinge of overt racism. My chapter never did the dressing up as Confederate soldiers, but we did drink mint juleps, singing a KA version of Dixie and do Gone with the Wind drinking games. A majorly Democrat chapter. We enjoyed the Southern vibe, however problematic. Which, okay, so they're just leaning, which I don't really find. I think that shit's stupid. The whole like, oh, anything Confederate is racist. That's retarded. I also think it's kind of gay to even be like, oh no, it's racist. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're talking about. But usually, I'll be honest, I usually kind of, I almost shut down when you go, oh, racist. Like, oh. I mean, you gotta come with something strong at that point. I go, okay, all right. Peter stayed as an active member as KA through his year in the States and is now alumni brother, still in contact with some of the friends he made there. But he does now ponder that societies such as this can become quite dangerous as echo chambers where certain thoughts and actions can be easily excused and escalated. Even a decade later and far from the place where he spent a year with Kappa Alpha, Peter is one willing to talk specifics about, for example, his initiation. The bonds forged in societies such as this are strong and last a long time. Is it any wonder that people view the Freemasons with a measure of suspicion? The open letter placed by the Freemasons in the Times and Telegraph ends with the phrase, "We're open," a buzzword repeated on the website of the United Grand Lodge of England. On their Becoming a Freemason page, 4 white men share a drink in a pub, driving home the message of belonging and support. Man, they're really determined to try to make this a racial thing, and it keeps being like shut down at every turn, it seems like. Whatever. Any man over the age of 21 may join regardless of ethnic group, political views, economic standing, or religion, although he's expected to have a face, says the page. Next step, if you don't already know someone in your local lodge, is to approach the Freemasons on their contact page, and they'll put you in touch. Which seems straightforward enough. Out of interest, I Googled Illuminati to find out if it did the same. You'll be hard-pressed to find someone who will admit if they're a member of this particular group. In a toss-ups, whether it exists at all. The organization is perhaps most famous for appearing in the Illuminati trilogy by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson in the 1970s, positing a world-spanning conspiracy that stretches back through history, taking in copious amounts of sex, drugs, and magic. Surprisingly, it does have a website, and even a Beverly Hills-based PR company, Lirum, specializing in image management, branding, and global marketing strategies for religious and government heads of state. So I dropped Lirum a quick email. I got your email address from the website of the Illuminati. I was a bit surprised they had a website, being what I thought was a shadowy international conspiracy. But I suppose everyone has to get with the times. I'm a journalist and writer in the UK. I'm writing to ask if you can let me know how to join the Illuminati. Is there a membership cost, i.e. monthly subs? I would like to know if there's any kind of initiation rituals, as I am scared of heights, but pretty much anything else goes. Also, can you let me know if all that stuff in the Robert Anton Wilson / Robert Shea books are true? Thanks in advance. Look forward to hearing back from you and signing up. I also contacted the Bilderberg Group. This is a bizarre journalist, but whatever. I kind of support it. This is fun. Just writing random fucking groups and trying to join them, which also has what appears to be a website. I'm a journalist and writer in the UK. I'm interested in joining the Bilderberg Group. Can you let me know what application requirements, membership benefits, and how I go about joining up? Curiously, at the time of writing, I've yet to hear back about any of them. Maybe they know too much about me already. If only I'd stuck it out at the fishing club. Okay, well, that's the end of it. I just thought it was an interesting little dive. Just kind of, I don't know. I guess we didn't really get any too crazy information, but who knows? That was fun. Just a reminder of the connection of the secret societies to the colleges. And, I mean, hell, I know that it didn't seem that impressive when I kind of broke down the grok there, but that was what? 5 + 8, 13. I think one of those was both. So that's 12 out of, what are we at? What is Donald Trump? Is he 46? Isn't that right? Or is he 47? What is Donald Trump? What president? 45th and 47th. So that's 47 presidents. I mean, some of them are redundant, but we'll say 47. I don't know. So what's that? 12 out of, I don't know, just make it easy math, 48. That's 25% of them came from Harvard or Yale. Pretty impressive stat, particularly. So, all right, let's roll the chat. See what you guys are up to. All right. Qbert says Destiny's a faggot, so the fact that she's skinny is the only thing that makes me believe it with her skinny little boy ass. Yeah. Someone says, great, now I have to look up Fuentes. Oh, wow, man, where do you live, Alien Big Cat? Man, Nick Fuentes, he's kind of, how do I explain Nick Fuentes? America First, nationalism, a little bit of a racial tinge to it, definitely Christian, supremacy maybe. Yeah, he's kind of got a little bit of a bad name from some people over there, but I don't know. There's been a big Tucker Carlson versus Fuentes thing, but yeah, you'll have to look him up. I don't even know how to explain him to him without sounding weird. All right. Bush is also related to Obama, says Apple Eater with Rome. Wild. J.J. Vance on Occult Rejects purports he's one of the presidential bloodlines, perhaps. Wait, so are you saying JJ is saying that he is one of the presidential bloodlines, or is he saying that JD or JJ is saying that JD is one of the presidential bloodlines? I don't know. Let me see. Blavatsky, the founder of the Shriners, allegedly studied with them in Lebanon for several months, says Comment Mama, and that's in reference to saying supposedly the Druze taught the Freemasons a thing or two at the building of Solomon's Temple. Are you kidding me? The Druze have supposedly been around that long, since Solomon's Temple? That would be interesting if that's true. That's according to Freemasonry itself. Okay. Let's see. Bugfight says, my ancestors fought in the Civil War, and even my dad's generation was in a Confederate club at his public high school. Yeah, no problems with that here. Or I think that's beautiful, particularly. Jefferson wrote to, I think, Washington about the Illuminati, says Eddie Grimm. Yeah, I vaguely recall that. Yeah, there's some letter from Jefferson about the Illuminati at that time. Yeah, it may have been to Adams. Tom 3 says Timeline Earth has been going through the Bill Cooper Mason series in their Patreon. It's been great. That sounds interesting. Hell yeah. Apple says my husband is a Mason. It is harmless, but after the third degree it gets sketchy. Yeah, I figured Masons. That's why I did especially give the caveat when we covered this that I know this is Masonry, because I didn't know where they were going to go with it, but obviously extrapolate the concepts out from there. And that's kind of what the article did as well. It was kind of just extrapolating out from there. But yeah, I'd say most people, it's there's so many Mason clubs and so many people that are Masons. I've met so many Masons. So it's it is hard to believe it is some super spooked out thing at the lower levels. I do think it probably is generally just some sort of social club that you probably do get some sort of minor perks of some sort, like they were kind of alluding to in there, that as silly as it may be, you get pulled over and the cop sees your Mason ring and he's, oh, you're a Mason? Yeah, I'm a Mason too. Oh, hey man, what lodge are you at? And there's just those little simple things, they give you a little bit of a, it's kind of like the old J dynamic we talk about sometimes. So helps you out a little bit. So what else we got here? What's up, JC? And Fuentes encourages his young male viewers to shun women. He does. Yeah, he's a little bit of the gay. Here is Mega Nerds says a low-level masonry is recruiting like the colleges. Yes. So yep. And then Overgrind just says Nazi. Well, that's an interesting take. And Comment says, if you haven't listened to Bill Cooper's Hour of the Time, check it out. He's an OG. Yeah, that was his regular radio show, right? Or did he have multiple shows? Because I've listened to his show a few times for different research for this or that. It's generally pretty good. I don't have too much bad to say about him. All right, guys, let's get back into, before we get out of here, let's check in on what's going on over the shooting that we talked about at the beginning. I'm over here on the Vigilant Foxes page. This is not really this is not an endorsement or not an endorsement of mine either. I just happened to be where I saw the news earlier, and so I assumed there would probably be more. So yeah, I guess we have some updates, unfortunately, about the stats. So I guess a couple of people did die, so let's go ahead and watch this. It's sad news.
Officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building, while other first responders came and EMS responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews. Their parents have been notified. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church. Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover, and for our entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack. We will stand together to protect our children, our schools, and our houses of worship. This deliberate act of violence is just a sign of cruelty that is beyond comprehension. Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this tragedy. As we begin the difficult path of healing, I want the community to know this, that even in the face of such evil, the Minneapolis Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners stand with our community. We stand with these families and with this parish. We will continue to be here for you.
All right, well, that's awful. I mean, that sounds almost awful to say this, though. I mean, I guess at least it was only 2. Sounds they said 2 in critical condition. So, I mean, I would think maybe with an ending up with a possible max of 4. I mean, obviously, it sounds gross looking at the numbers like this, but I mean, judging by the beginning of the show, we were talking about it being in mass, and likely, I would assume that would probably entail like essentially school-wide assembly in a closed, mostly fairly closed-off location with limited exits. I mean, we could have been looking at a real nightmare scenario here. So, although, I mean, 17 people injured, so I mean, he did get, a lot of people, but I mean, that's wild. It's I guess more to come on this. Maybe we'll have more information for you guys tomorrow. So I guess we'll check in the chat, and we'll play an outro and get out of here after that. But Apple Eater says Bill Cooper had 2 shows and a newspaper sub. Okay, I'm not sure which ones I did watch. I mean, I've listened to something of his a few different times. So he says Alex Jones sacrificed Bill Cooper. I said what I said. Perhaps he did. Bug Fight says, damn, I didn't hear about this. Yeah, we covered this the very morning, the very beginning of the show. It had just, I think, it was like an hour or so before the show started. It happened, like it just happened. And then, he said, what type of church, what type of race? It was a Catholic Christian, it was a Catholic school, and they were supposedly at Mass. So is what was being reported around. So obviously, early information. I don't know if that's true. Eddie says they haven't said the race. I mean, they haven't really said anything yet. So, I guarantee we'll almost certainly have more for this tomorrow. Comment Mama says interview with Jones and Cooper says it all. I didn't even know they had an interview. I'll have to check that out sometime. All right, guys. I got an outro for you guys. I'm sorry I forgot to play an outro for you guys. I had a fun one that I lined up for you. I'll play the one I was going to play yesterday. You'll see why it would have been a fun way to end it with Mel with that outro. But whatever. You get it today. But for those who want to support what I'm doing over here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. All of these things are steps that can help grow this show and without having to chip any money. But if you are in a spot where you can chip in money and you do want to grow the show, that really is the best way you can do it. And I do very much appreciate that, but I totally understand it. Family first, all that, I am not a priority in your life. And if I am, you should probably reassess your priorities. But if you are in a spot where you do get value out of this, I mean, particularly you find more than $2 worth of value a month in your life from this, then perhaps considering contributing and helping the show to grow so you can continue to see more of it. I don't know, maybe expand this in different ways, raise production, all sorts of different things. I mean, the more you invest in the show, the more I'll invest in the show, because that's how it works. Because I have other things in life, because this also isn't my priority. So I have a wife, I have kids and stuff like that. So if you could somehow tie this into also benefiting those other priorities, then this becomes more of a priority. So, which is fine. I mean, I'm fine with whatever you guys want, more or less. But at the lowest level, that's $2, and I try to give you your $2 value back. I do a number of things. I give you access to early episodes. I paywall probably 1 to 2 episodes a week. Usually that's about 4 behind the paywall at any given time. So it's weeks of paywall content. You also get access to the an ad-free RSS feed. You also get access to the Telegram. That's for me and Austin's audiences. And you also get access to the pre-show and priority for the call-ins on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which is at 9:30 on Tuesday nights, Eastern PM. And if you're a patron, you can get priority for the call-ins and hang out with us. We love it when you guys do that. And the highest level is my sponsors, and I give them a big shout-out because I love them, because they're the biggest ballers, baby, and they're the biggest ones who support this show. I have my previous co-hosts on Tower Gang, at Learn to Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZLVRCK, at _Fazil, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Taculus, and not Masad. And with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. Here's the intro I meant to play for you guys yesterday. I think you guys will get a kick out of this. Love you all. And I had another one that's even more spicy that I was like, that one might get me nuked. I'll save that one for another day when I'm feeling a little bit frosty and maybe when my strike expires, because I do have that one stupid strike from a while ago. Maybe that expires, I'll get a little bit more saucy again. But this will be a fun one. I think this will give you some giggles. Enjoy the comedic workings of the great Norm Macdonald. I love you all. I'll see you all tomorrow. At least I should. I don't have any reason why I wouldn't be doing a morning dump tomorrow. But see you all tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.
God damn, I wish I had a time machine
to see that action.
Yeah, no, to take back my question.
Thought you were going to say to murder Hitler.
I would not. You know, people always fucking want to murder Hitler with their time machine, right? But then I feel if I got back there, I'd be afraid of falling under the spell of his fucking beautiful eyes.
It's true.
You want oratory, and
then
then
locked in the gaze.
Yeah, and then I join the fucking party.
That's
not
his
me.
thing. He gives you his full attention. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe there's something to this guy.
Norman, before you ask another serious
Believe
question,
it or not, they're telling us to wrap it up. I don't exactly know why you guys.
This was fun for everyone.
It's the
For the
Lonely
record,
Island, guys.
I would have killed Hitler. So thanks, gentlemen.
Can I just clarify? if I did go back in time to kill Hitler, I would do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get lost in his eyes and then bam.
Yeah.
Just so I don't get hit from all the
I know
defamation leads.
He would end it. Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm sorry about.
We got to wrap it up.
I'm sorry about bringing up Hitler.
You really brought this live show to a new
This
level.
is the first one, right? This is your first interview?
This is the first time I've ever interviewed a man.
If you can bring Hitler into all of them, they're going to ask you back for sure, which is I know what you want.
That's what we're